Alright guys, in this video I wanted to go over the thought process behind my back day setup and hopefully give you guys some good advice on how you can also structure your back days to have really complete even growth so you can have a wide and a thick back like we all want. So really what I'm doing in each of my back sessions is I'm choosing a wide grip and a close grip vertical pulling pattern, and then a wide grip and a close grip horizontal pulling pattern. And on one of my pull days, which is you're seeing here, I'm going to do my vertical pulling first, and then on the other day I'm going to be doing my horizontal pulling first. And this is just because I'm going to be a little bit more fresh. If I'm doing my vertical pulling first, that's going to be able to perform better, and vice versa with the horizontal pulling first. On my vertical pulling, what I'm doing here is I'm really just trying to keep my chest as high as possible, and I'm not trying to sway or feel like I have to like jerk the weight down or lose that arched lower back position in order to get the weight down or lifted in general. Because once that happens, you are not placing tension on the lats anymore, and they have failed, and you are just causing more systemic fatigue than you have to. One other thing is that I don't put my thumbs around the bar. I put my thumbs over the bar, and this allows me to really drive down through my elbow more and use less of my biceps. They're still getting activated, but I'm really trying to bias a little more towards my back. Now, obviously, I'm doing my back movements, and this is a really great way to sort of help that. If you feel like your biceps really take over a lot, just don't have your thumbs wrapped all the way around. Have them over the bar wherever you're using to grip. And this is going to be my wide grip T-bar row. This is going to be a little bit more of the upper back that you're seeing here, with basically the wide grip pulling patterns, both vertical and horizontal, and then you're going to have more of the lats with the close grip. One thing that you're not going to see on here is my deadlifting, but I do deadlifts throughout the week. Heavy hip hinging is also something that you do need to have in your program just to have your spinal erectors developed. I think that could be a deadlift from the floor, that could be an RDL, that could be a good morning, just something like that that places stress on the erectors, or maybe even doing barbell rows or something that you can also do as more of a wide grip bowling pattern if you don't already do squats or deadlifts in your program. I tend to not really program those in for my powerlifters because, well, we're already doing a ton of axially loaded movements, and I don't really want to add more of that fatigue. So we just choose more chest supported. Again, here I'm really trying to externally rotate my shoulder, drive it down towards the hip on more of my close grip. And this is like probably the only single arm pattern I do. I like to do more bilateral. I don't think that you're really getting a big benefit from doing lots of close or single arm work. I just don't think that matters unless you're at your peak development muscularity and you're squeezing out every single last bit. Now I am doing some direct shrugs, not a lot, just because I am with all the deadlift volume that I do. There's a lot of taxing of my traps already, but this is just something that I do for just a little bit extra stimulus, because there's nothing. I don't think there's such thing as too big of traps, frankly, for the physique that I'm going for. And with these, I'm just trying to really just think about having my shoulders back and driving them up as high as I possibly can. If I can't do that, then I kind of just stop the set. And then on my next exercise, I do some rear delt flies. I like doing mile reps on my shoulders. Basically, I'm going to go close to failure or basically at failure here. And so basically, like, rear delts are kind of weird to fail on because it's like it randomly, like, you hit like this wall. It doesn't really feel like systemically hard like a squat or deadlift does. But you're just like, you can't go all the way back the way that you could, in the earlier sets. And that's not like, okay, I'm calling it there. Like, I'm not producing the same amount of force anymore to be able to achieve that range of motion. One thing I'm really thinking about here is I'm trying to really lean forward and line up my shoulders with the pivot point of the machine. I also like doing single arm cable rear delt flies. I do that on my other day, but I do this on this day, and obviously it works. And I think people forget about their rear delts. Like, this is working your upper back and your rear delts, but your rear delts really make a big impact on how your overall shoulder does look and its overall 3D look. And then this exercise you're going to see is a single arm preacher hammer curl, and this is something that I really like because I can keep really strict on it, and I can push pretty hard, and not feel like I'm swaying too much. And it's just a little slightly different pattern than having a supinated grip where your palm is up. um, on the hammer, or sorry, in a preacher curl pattern. And personally, for me, I really like these and connect well with them. I feel like I'm able to stay pretty strict on them. But like this is a generic template that I would use for most people for like a pull day, and I would add or subtract volume as needed. But usually I don't think people need as much direct arm work as they usually do program, especially if they're doing plenty of pulling and pressing in their program, because technically every set you're doing that's close to failure is going to count as roughly half a set of arms. There's actually some recent study I'll pop on the screen, including the description box, that kind of goes over that. But I think a lot of people just do too much arm volume in general. That's why they're quote unquote stubborn, is that they're doing too much work. Because you're doing like say 16 sets like I do per week of back. That's roughly 8 sets of arms. And if I want to actually like recover and adapt, I can't really do much more than 4 to 8 sets hard after that per week and really make progress. So hopefully this was helpful. If you guys have any questions, just ask down below. If you guys are interested in coaching, links are also down below to apply. But hopefully you guys got some value from this as far as how you can design your program better to grow a big, thick back.